Hey everyone, John Henry here from School of Trade. Today we're going to be taking a look at a long trade on crude oil here, back up towards the highs. Now, if we look at the chart a little bit here, first off, we can definitely tell that we have more of a range sentiment today, right? We've gone down, we've gone up, and now we're back down again and we're at the lows. Very unlikely that we're going to wind up in a really big, strong trend, just given the way that we're moving right now. Now, my entry point's at 48.89. My stop is down at 48.69. The main objective for this is for it to return back towards the highs. Now, those highs right around this area here at 18. Now I'm going to go ahead of that a little bit and go to 15, but that's going to be the first primary target. Now, in terms of secondary targets, we do have an area of resistance above us at 49.24, so that is going to be the final one. So we'll go up to 49.21 on that last little bit there. Now, really what's happening and what it really kind of looks like is we had a wedge that was potentially forming, and it's a pretty obvious wedge, right? But you'll notice I have a bunch of lines drawn in the lows, and that's to demonstrate what's going on the bottom, right? This is something that we're not seeing on the top, but we are seeing on the bottom, and that's a big clue because that's showing us some very important information. First of all, this first time they tried breaking underneath that wedge low, it was bought right back up, and then it tried reversing. They drew it off the next one. Came back down to that low, and it bought off that one again. And then the sellers hammered price lower on this massive bear candle, and that one was bought up as well. Now, put it in context on the other side of things, right? We look at the wedge high, they break, and they don't really fade it, right? The buyers have enough strength to push it outside of it, and yeah, the sellers really hammered that thing lower, but then where did they go, right? If the sellers own this market, they should have easily followed that move up with another candle or a couple about the same size as this big boy right here, but instead, the buyers saw that as a phenomenal place to get in at a cheap price, and it rocketed all the way back up again, showing complete seller failure. So not only are we seeing the buyers picking up every single one of these lows, we just saw kind of the dying breath of the sellers right here, right? And they picked it right back up from the buy side in the other direction. So that's why I'm long at 89. I'm looking for a larger move back up because I don't expect the sellers to be coming in anytime soon, and just primarily looking for the move to kind of finish itself off. Now, we do have inventories a little bit later today, so we might end up having to get out a little bit early. It all depends on what's going on at the time, and whether or not we have the time to get the trade to work. So 49.15 is the main objective, 49.21 after that. We're seeing the buyers pushing back up towards the highs here. Now, I'm locking my stop in a little bit tighter, 48.83. They pulled back to the break-even point. They tried fading underneath it. The sellers gave it another go, and, well, they didn't do so well either. And you can see when they gave up, this humongous bull candle came out of it. So we know that the sellers are no longer interested, but I don't want to choke the trade out either. We've come one tick away from our first target. Now we're testing it. There we get it filled. So now that we have that target filled, now we can move the stop to break even +1 because now I've got kind of the money in the bag, if you will. Beforehand, when you come one tick away, a lot of times you'll end up coming a couple ticks away because remember, you're not the only one in the trade. There are a lot of other people doing the exact same thing. And when you get that same thing in the same place, you tend to get a little bit of a bounce. And this is where that came from, right? Lots of buyers took some profit up here. They just didn't quite hit us. And so they faded back a little bit. You have to give them room to kind of work it out of their system. Once it's out of their system, they'll usually come back and give everyone else the fill, and they'll just kind of meander around this area. So I'm not really too surprised if we go a little sideways up here, especially after such a big move up. There are probably a lot of buyers that are looking to take profit. Now, in terms of continued upside movement, we still have plenty of time until the inventory numbers, so not really a huge kind of threat to the trade as of right now. But if we get stuck here and we just don't go anywhere for the next 20, 30 minutes, then we may have to exit early. Overall, though, the next target at 49.21 stops at break even. Buyers pushing up. Oh, big pop. Nice. Right into our target. That's exactly what we were looking for. And we still have plenty of time. Beautiful. So really the big thing of this is we just want to see this trade get done before we have to worry about the inventories, right? We're just going on 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock now by about 30 seconds. And that's what we wanted, right? We don't want to be hanging on to a position going into the inventory numbers because that is just a disaster waiting to happen. Now, if, in example, this didn't go up and hit the target, then we would be looking to close early ahead of that number. You don't want to hold through that. So in this case, though, we got the target filled. Beautiful move up to exactly what we were looking for. phenomenal failure from the sellers into just a complete statement candle from the buyers. This big boy right down here kind of told everyone what was going on. And anybody that missed it, they even came back for you and got you in there. So really nice movement to the upside and plenty of opportunity to get into it. And that's going to do it for me. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to send an email to School of Trade. Don't forget to check out our trial at schooloftrade.com. And as always, we'll catch you next time.